Return of the Obra Dinn is one of the most innovative and interesting puzzle games I've ever played. It took creator Lucas Pope about 5 years to develop this premise of playing as an insurance inspector aboard a ship, viewing the final moments of each crew member's death in order to piece together why the ship disappeared. The game's unique art style is not only for looks, but also to make you pay close attention to the crew's faces, seeing what they're wearing, both of which are important pieces of info that you'll refer to throughout your playthrough. Not only are you trying to decipher who is who based on looks, but also off of audio clips, artist paintings, the ship's manifest, and the ship's blueprints. This tightly constructed puzzle game utilizes multiple methods of reasoning that we're going to be talking about. These methods being deductive, abductive, and inductive reasoning. Lucas Pope originally started developing the game with the idea that you'd reenact the crew members' deaths, and if you fail, you have your soul taken away. That idea was scrapped due to Lucas being only a solo developer. So he developed the original demo that was publicly released in 2014. Lucas Pope said it took him a couple years before he really knew what kind of game he wanted Obra Dinn to be, realizing that the most compelling aspect of his game were players trying to figure out the identities of the crew members. And so he released a new demo at GDC in 2016. Lucas Pope expressed how he wanted to make a game that looked like the old 1-bit style games that he used to play on his Macintosh computer, using a special type of dithering to give Obra Dinn a 1-bit look while still being visually appealing. He thought of the visual style of the game first rather than the gameplay mechanics, which is interesting because Papers, Please was, in his words, a design-focused game, but Lucas wanted Obra Dinn to be visuals focused, and those visuals led into the design of the game rather than the other way around. Many people talk about how they use deduction in puzzle games. Deductive reasoning basically means the process of reasoning from one or more statements/premises to reach a logically certain conclusion.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So basically, you're using factual statements or info to reach a definitive conclusion. Examples of this can be seen everywhere in our lives, but in games, it can be something as simple as like, I shoot a guy with a rocket and it died, so one rocket's all it takes to kill these enemies. While playing Obra Dinn, I use deduction in order to understand what's happening in the scene with factual information I'm given. Listen carefully to this clip.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Ah! Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Off the audio, the position of where he's at in the environment, and the fact that you don't see anybody else near him, you can deduce that he is the captain of the ship. Then using the ship's ledger, you'll see his name as well. Here's another.
Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him dead. I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
Just from the audio, you can deduce that Abigail's brother is the man the captain shot dead. You can find someone with the same last name as Abigail's, and from that info, you can deduce that this man died by being shot by the captain. It's quite clear as to why people were praising how this game uses deductive reasoning in order to construct its puzzles, but I believe Obra Dinn also allows the player to use other methods of reasoning, such as inductive and abductive reasoning, in order to come to similar conclusions. Inductive reasoning is when you make a conclusion that is only probable based off of limited info.
Trade rich fish and shells for gold. Hey, who's that?
Mutiny! Mutiny! Fresh bastard! No!
So from this scene, a guy is crawling on the floor bleeding with a knife in his bag. Based on the voices of the characters, I can make a good guess that the man who stabbed him is probably this guy. I can deduce that this man shot him, but I can't confirm who any of these people are yet based on the info given. I can finish the chapter and try to see who they may be. This guy has a different uniform from everyone else I've seen, and he had access to a gun, so I can guess that he has a role on the ship that nobody else has. So I look at the unique roles on the ship and see a few possibilities. I can select one of them, but I won't know for certain if I got it right until I get the 3 ticks I get for every 3 deaths I get correct. Abductive reasoning is a bit similar to inductive because it also has you discerning a plausible solution based off of an observation. For example, several people escaped from the ship by a lifeboat in one chapter, so they didn't actually die. Question is, where did they go and who are they? Since a couple of them are women, and there are hardly any women on the ship, you can at least narrow the list of plausible people. A man has the same case given to you at the beginning of the game, so if you looked carefully, you know that this man is most likely Henry Evans. But the biggest question is, where could they have gone? There is a map in the book that charts the ship's journey, and it does say exactly where the ship was at each chapter, so you must estimate where the ship would have been on this route at this point in the story. Using multiple methods of reasoning, I can deduce that since this is the left side of the ship towards the back, I can infer that they went to one of these areas. But which one? If you closely read the beginning letter at the start of the game, you'd see Morocco mentioned, which means that they most likely escaped to Africa. And that is my inductive, abductive, and deductive reasoning all working together to come to this conclusion. All these methods of reasoning are used in conjunction with one another. There is enough info to know that the solution is there, but not enough to where the game is a cakewalk. You really have to pay attention, use prior information that you've gathered throughout your playthrough, use the methods of reasoning and process of elimination to solve this mystery among the Obra Dinn. And that's what makes it so compelling. It's a finely crafted experience, being satisfying to solve each crew member's fate piece by piece. Knowing more of the crew members' identities leads to being one step closer to figuring out who everyone else is, bringing you another step closer to the ending. Lucas Pope took a giant leap in trying to make something unique and innovative, and I believe he succeeded.